The Road to the CFR is presented by the Edmonton Destination Marketing Hotels, Northlands, the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association, and iLink Media Group in partnership with Travel Alberta.
You heard it here first. Western GMC Buick is Alberta's #1 GMC dealer. No one sells more GMCs than Western. Visit us today at the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road in Edmonton and find out why.
Let's get ready for the big guys. It's all brought to us by Western GMC Buick. We're talking about steer wrestling. They like to call it bulldogging, and I'll tell you what a race we have in the steer wrestling heading into our last two performances. Look at how close it is right here. Hunter Cure atop the board, Clayton Moore is second, and they also sit 1 and 2 in the aggregate by just a 1/10 of a second separating those two guys. Then you got Justin Miller, Cody Cassidy, and Morgan Grant, who has been great in 2 events, and of course is leading our high point as well. This is going to be a real good race day.
Yes, you bet. Morgan Grant is going to be the cowboy to watch tonight. He might go out of here with the bulk of the money. Being that he's in 2 events tonight, he's very, very good at both. Getting a good shot of our crowd tonight as the Cowboys get ready in the steer wrestling. We've got some great Cowboys as usual. The Cowboys in the steer wrestling are looking good and feeling good tonight.
Well, there's no better place to start than with a former Canadian champion. Why don't we go to Todd Woodward, the 2007 Canadian title holder. Long, tall Todd from Lethbridge, Alberta, going to ride in there. The man on the other side, of course, called the Hazer. His job to keep that steer running straight throughout the course of the run. Allow that steer wrestler to get down on the steer's back, twist him to the ground, all 4 feet pointing the same way. As he gets ready right now, Todd Woodward has won just $1,700 so far. Hasn't had the finals that we might have hoped for. Horse got just a little bit fractious right there, so Todd's going to have to roll back in and set things up again. We'll reset the barrier, restring it right there. Talk a little bit about the barrier, Doug, and just what it means.
Well, that's a line they're going to stretch across in front of the cowboy right now. We can see our Wrangler officials doing that. The steer has an apparatus on him in there that's tied with store string, and he will pull that line loose. Now, that horse has just jumped into it again. We might have to back up and reset and retie. Now, if it's the steer that pulls that line loose, absolutely no problem. If it's the cowboy's horse, the judges note that. They'll give him a 10-second penalty added to his total time. We're underway. Todd makes the slide, bring that big steer around. That's 600 pounds of cow right there. We're on the ground. 4 seconds flat.
You know
4
what?
flat.
I thought he was going to be down in about 3-3, 3-4, but that steer kind of hesitated, just kind of caught the back legs on the way down and didn't take the fall quite as well as he'd hoped it would. See right there? There's the hesitation. That cost him a couple of tenths, a couple of valuable tenths. Nevertheless, 4 seconds flat, very solid.
Good eye, David. We could have been just a little bit quicker, and I think we will be tonight. We had a great round of bulldogging today. This afternoon, we had 2 cowboys at 3.6 seconds. Here comes Saskatchewan.
This is a guy that you like and you've seen and watched from the youngest part of his career, and this is a very good cowboy.
You bet he is. Dusty Walker doesn't know how good he is. Here is a cowboy that has been a little starstruck this year at his first Canadian Finals rodeo. He has not made a dime in the steer wrestling. We have just about $11,500 available for our winner in each go-around, and Dusty Walker needs to take home a share of that tonight to set up his year for 2014. Now out to the steer. Oh, good Lord, and it continues. He did not get a hold of the horns on the steer. That'll go into the books officially as a no time. Good Lord.
Well, that's just, he's just kind of been snake bit here at these finals. And I think you start to fight it, don't you? I mean, you're like anybody else. You're a hockey player and you haven't scored for 10 games. You start to think about it in that 11th game. That's kind of what's happening here with Dustin Walker, because he's just too good to be blanked this long.
Oh, boy, you kind of start to question yourself, you know? Yeah, there we are. Cowboy from British Columbia. Dave, you know this guy.
Well, and Clayton Moore is very, very much in contention in this thing right now. As we talked about, he's only a 1/10 of a second out of the lead in the aggregate and sits very well in the overall as well. He won the first round with a 3 and 4. He has a 5th and a 1-2 split this afternoon as well, to his credit. So he is very much a contender. So much at stake right here on Saturday night. You'd like to set it up for Sunday. Clayton Moore in good position right here. Can he get to the nose? Yes, he can. That's nice. That's exactly what he needed. 3 and 7 takes the lead. That's about as much reaction as you're going to get out of Clayton Moore right there. He is ecstatic right now. One little clap of the hands. That's all you're going to get, but I'll tell you, that was a nice run by Clayton Moore. Oh, man, he's a little understated, Clayton, but I'll tell you, yeah.
Got his shirt dirty.
Inside, he's going, Yahoo! I'll guarantee it. Guarantee it.
Oh, that's great to see. Here comes the big guy. Here comes Strauss Milan. This cowboy has got so much ability. He is so athletic. He's a big guy. He can handle cattle, rides a great horse. That's the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association Steer Wrestling Horse of the Year right there. That is Jesse. He's owned by Lee Graves. You can't do any better to get on Jesse. That's a downtown start. Watch this. Look out. Yahoo! 3.7. We've done it again. All right, Strauss.
Well, Saturday night is shaping up to be the Saturday night we hoped it would be. I love that smile. When he is happy, you know about it. Look at this big, strong guy. Man alive, did he airplane that son of a gun? That was a nice job by big, strong guy. Way to go. Way to go, Strauss.
That was his brother over there on the Hazen side to set up that steer for him. It is a family affair for the Milans here at the Canadian Finals Rodeo.
Here's the man in the driver's seat, Hunter Cure, the Texan, and we were looking at it just a moment ago. He's the only steer wrestler to have placed in all 4 rounds to date. He turned in a second in the first round, a fifth place split in the second round, won the third round, and was fifth again this afternoon. He has just been so consistent and leads that aggregate by a tenth of a second, but he also knows that the man he leads was 3-7 already in the round. So he knows what he's got to do right here. And he has just been so solid and so cool, calm, collected, just ride in there, do what you need to do. That seems to be his game plan, and it's working.
And look over on the Hazen side. Guess who's going to position the steer for him? The guy that has, or rather shares the lead, Clayton Moore. There's Clayton right there. And he's riding Clayton's steer wrestling horse, Pistol. Pistol's 15 years old. He's been here to the Canadian Finals Rodeo before. He's solid and consistent. That's what you like to get on. Hunter Cure is high in the world standings as well. He's our 7th place cowboy in the world standings of steer wrestling. The quicker you get there in the steer wrestling, the better you do. The quicker the horse gets you there. The cowboys like to get close enough to the steer to be able to get your body down beside that steer. Pistol is great at it. Long reach. Come on, Texas. Bring him around. Yeah, that one was a little slow to take the throw. Cowboy did well. 4.8. 4 and 8.
All right. Well, I'll tell you, we know a couple of things already. We know that he's not going to be leading the aggregate after Saturday night because he's going to drop just a little bit back right there. But he did well with that steer. And, of course, the luck of the draw is so important. The draw is every bit as important in the timed events as it is in the riding events. And so far, I would say Clayton Moore, I would have preferred his steer over the one that Hunter Cure had. All right, Tanner Milan, defending champion. He's been having a pretty darn solid finals. He's been picking up the pace a little bit now. He's 4-6 in the first round. Then he had a no time. He was second in the next round, fourth in the one after this afternoon. So he's $11,000 won. And let's watch what Tanner Milan can do. I love watching the Milan boys, Bulldog. They just are so good. All right, look at the calm nature of this guy. Big, strong guy.
That is a look of determination right there, David. I think we're in for good things tonight. Once again, we're on Jesse. Both the Milan brothers are using him. So is Lee Graves. Jesse's got a lot of speed. Whoa! No! That steer set up on the cowboy. Steer threw his head up in there, and the cowboy went right over the top. That is unfortunate.
That's more than unfortunate. Let's take another look at it and see exactly what happened. And again, we talk about the luck of the draw. This isn't the steer you wanted because it would do that to you right there. Kind of ducked its head
Twisted
right
its
there.
head,
Yeah,
yes.
Just when he went for it. Boy, oh boy, that's a tough break in no time.
Couldn't get a hold of the inside horn right there is what happened, I think.
Here's the guy that you talked about right now.
This is one of the 2 event cowboys that we have here at the Canadian Finals Rodeo. There are 2 of them here. Morgan Grant is a tie-down roper. He's a steer wrestler as well. Now Morgan's backing on in there, ready to take a run at it tonight. Morgan has done well already today in the steer wrestling on 2 Performance Saturday. Let's back that horse on in now. Morgan watching the steer. We've got our Hazer over there on the other side. Now step the horse ahead a little bit. We need to get everything coordinated. One thing out of place in the steer wrestling run is not going to work. Morgan turns him out. Horse has got a lot of run right there. Little slide, bring him around.
Oh, handled him very well when he got there. 4 seconds flat. It's just been a tremendous finals for that guy right there, Morgan Grant, who was our pick of the day a couple of days ago. Our pick of the day today worked out kind of well. Kyle Bauer, I really like that, what Morgan Grant did right there. We're going to see him a little later in the rope, and he's happy about it. He should be. That is just a tremendous timed event cowboy.
Moving along in the order, here comes a cowboy that has twice brought home the World Championship to Canada in the steer wrestling. Lee Graves of Calgary. That's Lee's own horse. We've talked about Jesse already tonight. All the credit for Jesse should go to Lee Graves. He was not a world champion steer wrestling horse when Lee Graves purchased him. Lee looks after this horse, makes sure that he's all right. We're on outside. That's a downtown start. Now let's keep it all together. Yeah. Look at this one. 3.5. 3.5. There's the lead of the go-round. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, not that.
Oh.
Can you not decline the penalty for a world champion? You ought to be able to do that.
Lord.
Well, that 3 and 5 is going to go to 13 and 5 with the 10-second penalty. We talked about that barrier, and that's exactly what happened right there. The 13 and 5, you go from the penthouse to the outhouse, no money for Lee Graves. That looked like a great champion run right there, but that barrier comes back to haunt.
If you're not breaking barriers, you're not trying hard enough. It's just going to happen every so often. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. That was a great run and a great handle for Lee Graves right there. More cowboys coming in the order. This is our all-around cowboy leader thus far in the world of Canadian professional rodeo. He's a steer wrestler, he's a bronc rider, he's a team roper, and he is an Alberta rancher.
And he has struggled here at
Yes.
the Canadian Finals Rodeo. He really has. A former Canadian Rookie of the Year as well, and a semi-pro champion so many times. Hasn't won a dime. Still clings to the lead, but only because Kai Marshall has struggled just as much. The man who's chasing him, as neither of those guys have been a factor so far at this Canadian Finals Rodeo. But Travis Reay, I've watched this guy for a lot of years. I know that when he decides to put the hammer down, and he might just do that tonight. Now, you talked about this afternoon, he changed the horsepower. The black horse that he had been riding, his own horse, just wasn't getting him there. Now, let's see if he can get there this time. This is good. He's in position. To the nose, get him down. Oh, man. Now, sometimes you do everything right, and it still doesn't work. That's what happened right there.
That steer came around a little too far and almost jumped right up in his lap. He did good to get that steer on the ground. Watch this. Get on out there. There's the reach coming up right there. Now that steer comes around a little too far right there. See that back end
Yes.
flip around?
Yep.
Took him a little longer to get him on the ground. That's all right. We'll take that. 5 and 3. We're getting better. Tomorrow's another day. Harley Cole, once at this Canadian Finals, had the lead in the Canadian standings. He's on out there to the steer. Look out, coming on down. 4 and 4 for Harley Cole from Cochrane.
Harley Cole, of course, and we talked about the fact that in the second half of the season, he was just absolutely sensational. Made the big move to make it to his first Canadian Finals Rodeo. And right there does a nice job to get onto this steer and get him down 4 and 4 for Harley Cole. Well, that's going to set us up now with Justin Miller, Rookie of the Year in Canada. Justin Miller right now had a third in the first round, then a very, very costly no time, then came back with a fourth, and this afternoon split the round with Clayton Moore with a 3 and 6. Boy, that no time, and we talked about it when it happened back on Thursday, could come back to be a big, big factor for him. So far it has been, but all you can do when you're out of that aggregate is just go ahead and keep getting it done in the rounds. That's what he's done to this point in time. Can he do it again on Saturday night? I know you're very, very high on this guy's team.
Boy, I tell you, he has got all the tools. Justin Miller is an excellent bulldogger, and I tell you what, he's making provision for rodeo in upcoming years. He's got some other horses at home. Watch this. This guy can handle cattle as good as anybody here. Oh, it took a little longer for that steer to get all 4 feet visible to our field flag judge. That's not what he wanted. He is disappointed tonight. The time, boy, I think it's going to be a little bit too long for him to get into the money tonight.
Yeah, he's at 5 and 2 is what he was on the clock. But watch what happens right here. Let's watch that left elbow to the nose. See, he didn't really get the elbow around there. Had to kind of do it with the wrist, and that makes it a little bit tougher. That was a big, stout steer. Got him down in 5 and 2. Did well to get that.
One cowboy left. Here's the cowboy during our regular season of rodeos this year. Won more money than anybody else in the bulldogging. From the Cassidy family of bulldoggers at Donelda, Alberta, here comes Cody. Cody's had Canadian championships. Watch this. Get on out there. That steer's coming his way. It's a little more difficult to get a hold of this one. Slams him down.
That was nice. That was very, very nice. A 4-1 for Cody Cassidy. Handled that one very, very well is what he did. Well, you know who's the busiest person at this finals is Katie Lucas, because she's talking not just to one guy, but this afternoon we had a lot of ties. We've got a tie here in the steer wrestling once again. She's going to be chatting with two cowboys, Clayton Moore and Strauss Milan. They're going to take those victory laps right now. Nice job by both of those cowboys checking in at 3-7 to share the lion's share of the money today. Here they come. Clayton Moore's been very, very good, and of course there's the man who's heading off to the National Finals Rodeo representing our Canadian competitor, Strauss Milan. Clayton Moore, those two guys doing an outstanding job in the steer wrestling, and of course our steer wrestling was brought to us by Western GMC Buick.